an easy man to work for. While directing Hats Off to Hanuta, I reduced more than one cast member to tears. Did I expect too much from fourth graders? The review, play enjoyed by all, speaks for itself. Those auditioning for the role of Stanley, take off your shirts. Take off your shirts. Déshabillez votre chemise. Schnell, schnell, schnell. Nope. Chin. Oh, yeah. Good. Big man, I like that. He was pretty nice, right? You. Sorry about that. Take it easy. How about that part? Tell Stanley me. Hey, look,
Excess liquid drains. Is transferred to a holding area to marinate for at least 2 hours. Next, numerous lumpy rollers massage the chicken and break down fiber to tenderize the meat. Then, in a tumbler, metal paddles vigorously knead the meat. This tenderizes it even more and releases a natural protein that will eventually bind several breasts into one big piece. Meanwhile, in the turkey kitchen, workers shape and season previously marinated meat and apply strips of bacon to the top. The employee arranges them in a crisscross pattern for full coverage. He does it with a mix of seasonings and then wraps it in thick plastic. Once enclosed in the plastic, he can press the turkey breast into a more perfect shape. For a different flavor, they drench some turkey breast in a spicy southwestern marinade. After folding the turkey meat to the desired shape, the worker adds salsa and seasonings to complete the recipe. A little more hand-shaped, and it's ready for the oven. Back on the chicken line, it's the same idea, but with a different twist. Chicken breasts are too small to shape by hand, so they funnel them into thermoformed plastic molds. As the molds move forward, a worker sprinkles spices onto the meat, while another swabs juices to test for pathogens as part of a quality control program. Equipment heat seals the plastic molds, and then cuts them free from the matrix. Then they're on their way to the smoke oven. They spend 6 hours smoking at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. The protein released earlier by kneading causes the chicken parts to adhere and take the shape of the mold. Once they've been temperature checked, it's on to the next station. Here, workers peel off the cooking mold and drain the excess juices. Then the molded breasts go through a fryer. The hot canola oil browns the outside of the chicken meat for a more appealing and tasty effect. Meanwhile, workers swish other cooked chicken breasts in hot buffalo wing sauce to really kick up the spice a few notches. And after extra seasoning, the chicken travels through a long arc of electric heat rods. This is a special convection oven. Fans blow the heat from the rods onto the meat to complete the cooking process. By now, the turkey deli meat has also been thoroughly cooked and crisped. They transfer the turkey-filled bags to clam-like devices that close around them. Inside, a vacuum sucks out the air to shrink the packaging around the turkey and keep it fresh. It has taken about 8 hours to produce this poultry deli meat. Refrigerated, it should last about 35 days, unless there's a hungry crowd.
She could be my little freckle-faced fidget. Me with miniature, sleeping on the sofa till she tackles us.
To keep yourself safe.
Signature to scribble.
The file to the tip of my throat. Mission accomplished.
Homer, can you run some lines with me?
Make Bart do it.
It'll just take a sec.
You see, Bart, while you're off in your own little world, you forgot that other people have problems too.
Don't like to nap, eh? We have a place for babies like you. A box. All right.
Bristol Myers Squibb, thanks to me.
Sorry, Llewellyn. I just don't see why Blanche should shove a broken bottle in Stanley's.
A skyscraper, a supermarket, and more. How to build everything premieres Wednesday, June 22nd at 10 on Science.
Is chocolate swiping on the internet? I think that like somehow weaving together it just looks like an animal's liver.
How it's made. New episode, Monday at 9 on Science. NASCAR, an acronym for the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, is one of the most popular spectator sports in North America. NASCAR vehicles are modeled after certain American-made four-door passenger cars, but with far more powerful engines. No overhead camshaft engines on this track. For tradition's sake, NASCAR rules require an overhead valve engine, an older type of configuration also known as a pushrod engine. Designing the engine takes about a year and a half. It culminates in a detailed computer model, an anatomical rendering of the engine in full detail, right down to every last nut and bolt. pistons inside the cylinders move up and down, they rotate the crankshaft, driving the clutch and transmission, which propel the race car. With this little black component called a wrist pin, they join the piston to a connecting rod. Next, they fit two rings on the piston. The top one seals the cylinder, maximizing the pressure inside, which optimizes combustion. The bottom ring skims excess oil off the cylinder walls between combustion cycles, which prevents the car from burning oil. After inserting a piston all the way down into the cylinder bore, they grease the upper portion to prepare for measuring the compression ratio, which must comply with NASCAR rules. The compression ratio refers to the volume of space in which the piston compresses the gas and fuel mixture entering the cylinder. To take this critical measurement, they raise the piston all the way to the top dead center point, then verify the positioning with gauges. They seal the top of the cylinder with a see-through plastic plate. Then, with a syringe, inject alcohol into the space in between. The markings on the syringe tell you how many cc's, cubic centimeters, filling that space requires. This volume measurement indicates the compression ratio. The higher the compression ratio, the more horsepower the engine produces. They repeat this test with each cylinder. They flip the engine block upside down and put each piston's connecting rod in the corresponding position on the crankshaft. Then lock the piston in place with bolted-on connection caps. Now the technician closes up the bottom of the engine. Meanwhile, a device called a profilometer inspects the camshaft. The camshaft moves the intake and exhaust valves at the top of each cylinder, allowing the fuel and air mixture in and the combustion gases out. This testing ensures the camshaft is straight and that its surface is slightly rough, so that lubricating oil will cling to it. The engine build is now about halfway there.
Welcome to Stuff Dad Would Buy Himself If We Knew at the Home Depot. Get it customized with his phone. Hello, the future.
pushrod engine, the camshaft is located, as we've just seen, above the crankshaft. It opens and closes the valves with a system of lifters, rods, and rocker arms. In the more modern overhead camshaft configuration, the camshaft sits on top of the cylinders, moving the valves directly. Building the NASCAR engine continues with the installation of this aluminum motor plate, by which mechanics will mount the engine in the car. Next, the timing belt, which links the camshaft to the crankshaft, ensuring they turn in sync and maintain the correct timing. At the core of the belt is a woven material that's 5 times stronger than steel. Other technicians use a gauge to measure how much force it takes to compress the valve springs. This quality control check ensures that spring tension is within a specific range. Each cylinder has an intake valve and an exhaust valve. Technicians use a compression tool to squeeze a spring over each one. Then they secure the spring with a locking clip. The valves are located in the top section of the engine, called the cylinder head, that technicians now bolt onto the engine block. Next, they assemble the pushrod system by which the camshaft opens and closes the valves. First, rocker stands. Then, pushrods. These insert into lifters which connect to the camshaft. And finally, rocker arms. One end of each arm goes on the pushrod. The other sits on the valve. When the camshaft turns, the system